Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. We're so excited for this one. We've got Claire from Nightwing today to talk about how to be a cyber secure social media manager. This is going to be such a helpful webinar. I think it's easy to get caught up in like everything else that goes into social, which is so much stuff like strategy and content and community management, everything else. So maybe it can be easy to forget about cybersecurity, but it's such an important topic because things can go downhill very quickly if a cybersecurity incident happens, which Claire, I'm sure you will go into.
Yeah.
But as people are joining the webinar, I think some of you already know what I'm going to ask. I'm seeing lots of things coming up in the chat. I just want to know where you're joining from and if you feel like sharing what the weather is like. I'm based in Toronto, and honestly, the weather is a little gloomy. It's a little rainy, but I'm kind of not upset about it. I'm kind of enjoying the kind of gloomy vibe. So all good. What about you, Claire? What's the weather like for you?
It's pretty nice right now. I'm in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and yeah, can't complain. Feels like fall sometimes, so I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am kind of not mad about it. Okay, amazing. So before we get started with the webinar, we're going to get into the housekeeping slides. If this is your first time at the webinar, maybe like you heard about us on LinkedIn or someone just sent you the link and you're wondering, what is HeyOrca? Hello, we are HeyOrca, a social media management tool for teams and agencies. So we're here to help you with all of your scheduling needs. And we also have unlimited users, which is really helpful for teams that have to collaborate a lot. And also, if you don't already follow us on Instagram, I think you should. I am obviously biased because I am the social media community strategist at HeyOrca, but I also do think we are putting out some really great content, lots of funny memes, and also really incredible tips. So give us a follow if you like getting social media tips and updates, or you love a meme. We post a lot of those. We're going to do a quick round of intros. So my name's Natalie, and like I said, I'm the social media community strategist here at HeyOrca. So I am obsessed with all things social media and community. I love featuring our community on social. So if you're ever interested in collabing, please do not be afraid to reach out, and I'll pass it along to Claire.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Boucher, and I'm the social media and design specialist at Nightwing.
Amazing. And we are popping both my and Claire's LinkedIns into the chat. Please feel free to connect with us on there. And lastly, before we get to the content, it's time to talk about some giveaways. So we love doing giveaways in our webinar, and we have two ways that you can enter to potentially win an Amazon gift card. So the first way to enter is super easy. We've got a poll going on over on our LinkedIn page, and the question is, do you currently have a procedure for keeping your social media accounts cyber safe? So go vote on that poll, let us know, and then you'll be automatically entered to potentially win an Amazon gift card, and that winner will be announced tomorrow. And Lyle has just popped the link for the poll in the chat. So head over there, vote away. And then the second way to potentially win an Amazon gift card is to share something you learned from this webinar on LinkedIn, and then tag us so we see it, which I think will be super easy to do because this is going to be such an informative webinar. One little tip I personally find writing LinkedIn posts, like I'm like, oh, what do I say or how do I say it? So one little tip is just to take a screenshot of a slide that really resonates with you, or a tip that was particularly interesting, and take a screenshot and use that to kickstart your LinkedIn post. So that's a little tip from me to you. Because that one takes a little bit longer, takes a little bit more effort to write a LinkedIn post, you have a bit more time. So we'll be choosing a winner on Tuesday at noon. So you've got a little bit more time there. And with all of that housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to get Claire's slides up and we'll get started with the webinar. So please feel free to ask Claire any questions in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on them. And without further ado, I will stop yapping away. Claire, you can take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you for that intro. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being online. I am so thrilled to be doing this. It's a bit surreal, actually. I've personally have attended like so many of these webinars over the years, so it's actually like really rewarding and surreal to now be on this side of the screen, especially for such an important and timely topic. So again, a quick introduction about me. My name is Claire Boucher, and I'm a proud social media manager with a focus on content creation and digital marketing. So over the years, over my career, I've had the privilege of working across a range of industries, from higher education, universities and nonprofits, to destination marketing, and even startups. That was early on. So each experience has definitely shaped how I approach digital media, and it has helped contribute to an amazing array of campaigns and marketing opportunities. So all in all, I like to think of myself as a human toolbox. I am versatile, reliable, and ready to tackle any challenge that comes my way. If you want to hit the next slide. So there's a few pictures, some content moments I've had. Just that's me. So currently I serve as the social media and design specialist at Nightwing. It's a national defense company and technology company, and Nightwing specializes in full spectrum cybersecurity, data operations, system integration, and intelligence support services. So really complex topics, but it's a real honor to work in that space. Not only is it technically complex, but it's, again, really deeply relevant to the world that we live in today. And with cybersecurity affecting everyone from global brands and individuals, it's really more important than ever for social media managers to understand how to protect the digital spaces, that we manage, care for, and put so much of our energy into. So by the end of kind of my remarks, our session today, my goal really is to leave you with clear concepts and some actionable strategies for becoming more cyber secure, so you can protect yourself, your team, your campaigns, and most importantly, yourself. So why does this topic matter? Why are we here? Let's start with a simple truth about cybersecurity. Really, threat actors will take advantage of anything and everything they can, literally. And here's the challenge for us as social media managers is we need to be safe 100% of the time. It only takes one attempt or one mistake or one overlooked vulnerability to lose everything, to get locked out of your account. It's literally one single click on a wrong link or one weak password or one brand account that gets compromised. And that's all it takes for reputational damage or data theft or a full-scale breach, which is truly a nightmare if we think about it. And so this doesn't just live at the personal level, this scales all the way up to organizations. One vulnerability can create a ripple effect that spreads across customers, institutions, and truly entire industries. So that's why this topic matters. It isn't just where we as individuals share updates or promote our work or build brands. It's really rooted into our personal lives, our businesses, and our society in general. And when it's attacked, when it's threatened, the impact can spread like wildfire and faster than most of us can really imagine. Okay, so what exactly are we up against? Think of this kind of my next few points as a quick tour of the threat landscape, kind of like a behind the scenes of how cyber risk can be seen within social media. This is not meant to review every aspect of cybersecurity. We'd be here all day. It's more so to offer concepts and realities that you as a social media manager, might not think about really on a daily basis. So, like I mentioned, in terms of cybersecurity, the risk landscape of social media is broad and it's constantly evolving because these platforms that we use sit at the intersection of personal data, business activity, and global communication. So really it presents a unique challenge overall. So to break this down even further, we can kind of categorize the social media threat landscape into 4 areas: personal risk, business risk, reputational risk, and national/global risk. And these risks don't necessarily look the same for everyone, but the impact can definitely be equally devastating. So let's start with personal side of risk. As Dwight would say, identity theft is not a joke. Um, we must recognize how threats affect us as individuals. So kind of first within this, we see our phishing and scams. You've probably seen these before, those fake DMs or emails that look just real enough to trick you or someone into, clicking on that link or handing over a password or handing over any other sensitive information. And the goal with those it's usually simple: to steal your login, your credit card info, or anything else valuable and that's associated with your account. And, then there's identity theft. Think about how much identifiable information we share online: our birthdays, our pets' names, our job titles, our favorite coffee shops. That really is all fuel for a threat attacker. They can piece those details together and impersonate you, and even impersonate you using AI. And the one that really ties this all together is social engineering. Attackers are basically puzzle solvers. Every little piece of information you post, again, your birthday, your upcoming vacation, your daily routine, it really becomes part of a bigger picture. And once they assemble that picture, once they put that puzzle together, they can manipulate you or deceive you. And that's the thing. It's not always this, hacker attacking a system. Sometimes it's hacking a person and the individual. So the bottom, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, Jen makes a really good point in the chat as well,
Mhm.
to watch out for this stuff to be ramping up before a
Yeah.
holiday weekend, like when your attention may be lax, or also I guess
Yeah,
when you're
definitely.
traveling or posting things without thinking about it. Yeah.
So really, like you said, the bottom line, every post, every detail, it can become a vulnerability and in the wrong hands used against you. So now let's go from personal risk to business risk, because for organizations, the stakes are even higher. And with that, first is account compromise. So this is when a high value account, that you might use or see gets taken over, maybe your main company page, or even a third party tool, any third party tool you use on a daily basis that you rely on. Suddenly you're locked out, they're locked out, and an attacker is free to post malicious, misleading, offensive content under your brand name. So not only is that a nightmare to recover from, but the reputation damage can happen instantly before you see it. And, kind of with that, we have data leaks, which doesn't always happen because of a hacker. A lot of times it could be human error, an employee accidentally sharing a spreadsheet or sharing a wrong link online. Like, it happens so fast or in the wrong place. And someone screenshots it or someone grabs it, and they shouldn't have. Either way, sensitive information can end up exposed and online. And once it's online, we can't really do much. You can't pull it back. And another issue that we see is brand impersonation and fraud. So fake accounts that mimic your brand, or sometimes senior leadership within your companies, or well-known CEOs are common. And these impersonators can trick other people, into sharing, details or downloading malware, downloading other information, or handing over information, all while thinking they're dealing with that real company, and that's just not the case. So it's essentially weaponizing your brand's reputation against your own audience.
Totally.
And the point to remember, with that, is that these threats just don't target individuals. They're targeting entire companies. They're trying to get in, they're trying to target these industries, and using social media, the online presence, as the attack surface. And because social media, as we know, is so public, the impact of these risks just spreads so quickly.
I feel like I see so many brand impersonations on Instagram
Mm,
when brands are doing
yeah,
giveaways. I feel like that
yeah.
must be a really vulnerable time. I see so often when a
Yes.
brand does a giveaway, there's always like a story like this account is
Not
not
us.
like it's
Report it.
great. Yeah,
And yeah, no matter what you do, you're just like again, 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 and that's the reality. It's constant. So oops, sorry, there we go. So kind of the next one we have is this reputational risk, which you could say is the one that keeps most of us social media managers up at night. And with this is viral incidences. Sometimes it's just a slip of a keyboard, or sometimes it's a full-on hack. But all it really takes is one post or one rogue comment or one screenshot of a Zoom call to go viral that gets posted. And unfortunately, the internet is not forgiving. It can really overshadow years of good work, years of good brand development. Um, so then we have misinformation and disinformation. And false information, as we know, spreads faster than the truth online. And once a rumor takes off, corrections, you can't keep up. It's impossible to address it all. And for a brand, that means your credibility can take a hit even before you know there's a problem or see the intensity of it. And the third piece is kind of real-time crisis. Social media doesn't stop. It's 24/7. And what might appear as a small thing could really escalate in minutes. And by the time you wake up, your crisis team wakes up, whoever sees it first, the situation might have already gone global. So the speed of social media is both a benefit, but it's also a real danger of these platforms. And at the end of the day, reputational risks aren't just about one bad moment. They impact the way people view you or view your organization online. Your trustworthiness, your ability to operate. It just becomes a mess. And once damaged, it's incredibly, incredibly hard to repair.
yeah. Katie in the chat is making a really good point. She's saying it reminds her of all the big companies' April Fool's jokes,
Oh yeah,
poor taste, and it's
yeah.
so easy to think something's funny or just not see it in a certain
Basically.
way, and then once it's up there, it's up there. Like it's yeah.
So kind of the last one that we have is state-sponsored attacks. So, national risk, global risk, governments or organized groups, if you've ever heard the term like scattered spider, it's pretty common. They use social media platforms to push propaganda, spread disinformation, or straight up leverage attacks. It's not just noise, it's deliberate influence. And with that, we have election and policy interference. Coordinated campaigns on platforms can manipulate public opinion, flood feeds with misinformation, undermine trust in democratic systems. And it sounds so scary, and it is. But oftentimes, people don't even realize they're being influenced. And lastly, critical infrastructure targeting. Social media can be the entry point for attackers to trick employees through social engineering. Again, we see it into them handing over information that they just don't know they're doing in the moment, but it could impact major industries like energy or healthcare or utilities. And one careless click by one person can unfortunately just ripple into a national issue. So when we talk about national risk, we're really talking about social media as a point for large scale societal and geopolitical threats. And it's really bigger than just one brand or one individual. It's about stability, trust, and security. So, kind of as you just heard, the risk landscape of social media is huge. It's all over, it's scary. And at the personal level, you go from phishing and scams all the way up to the business level of account takeovers and leaks and brand impersonations or viral incidents. And then you're at the national level, and we see state-sponsored attacks and critical infrastructure at risk. So really the big takeaway, with kind of all that, social media isn't just about likes and shares anymore. It's a high value target. And because of that, we as social media managers need to think not just like marketers, but as protectors. And that's kind of our responsibility. And the good news is there are 4 kind of key ways that you can be cyber secure daily and protect your brand. So first, start with your accounts and all third-party tools that you use. Secure them using MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. Please turn it on and use it. And when possible, if your organization has it, use single sign-on. It's really to your advantage. These 2 tools together really makes it harder for attackers, and it makes it easier for you to manage and be secure. And next, think about access. Limit who has access if you can. Audit, which I know is not as always easy, but just try and audit it regularly. Make sure there's a clear owner or a clear individual who's responsible for every channel. Centralized ownership prevents the too many cooks in the kitchen problem and helps when someone leaves the team or there is a potential threat. But, security kind of doesn't stop there. Monitor your platforms for impersonation attempts. When you see them, report them. Fake accounts that look like your brand or your senior leadership. Catching those mistakes early, catching those, impersonators really can save you so much trouble down the line. So just really be alert. But unfortunately, because crises happen, have a response plan, know who does what, in terms of communicating, what happens if you have to lock down the account or change your password or how quickly you can react. Just have a response plan. For the day-to-day, stay alert. Again, watch your notifications. Teach your team safe sharing habits. So think twice before, if something comes across as sensitive or whatever it might be, just think twice. And this could be as literal as a picture of an employee with their employee badge in it. Just make sure that's kind of covered, taken off, photoshopped out, or office locations. You remember that's personal information. It can kind of be used against you or your brand and be used as entry points. So also collaboration is key. Work with your IT team, work with your security team if you have them. I know that might vary depending on your role, your industry, but if you have them, collaborate with them. They have the tools and the knowledge to support you. They want to be your best friend, but they need your kind of frontline insight and experience on social media. And finally, communication is your strength. If something happens, so crisis happens, be honest with it, be prompt, always focus on solutions, and really transparency builds trust, and it'll really help you if an attack happens, if your account gets compromised, even in a crisis.
We've got 2 questions that have popped in from this slide. So Jordana is asking, is there an MFA where you don't have to use your personal cell phone number for a work account?
Yeah, it definitely varies, but I know some of these accounts have like codes that you can keep, separate, and then you put in these codes, and it's kind of like, okay, once you use a code, cross it off. You can't use that. Once you use that code, cross it off. Some tools have like a key you put into your computer, it varies. So they are out there. I would just suggest researching, seeing what options works, best for you.
And then Christy is asking if you have like a sample crisis response plan that you can share, or like any idea, like a template might be for that.
I don't have one right this second, but I could potentially see what I can share and get back to you.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So, to kind of end this section and, wrap things up, and I want to leave you with more than just these, concepts. I want to leave you with some best practices that apply in your personal life, at home, in the office, out and about, that you really should start using right now if you don't. So we have this lovely chart of, again, all action items. So the first being your default passwords, whether it's your router, your ring light, your scheduling platform, whatever it might be that you use, change those default passwords immediately. Default equals an easy entry point, and you don't want your accounts compromised because of a setting or password that you never touched. With encryption, make sure your Wi-Fi has a password as well. Make sure it's locked down. Don't use open networks. If you're scheduling posts for your company, your brand, you want to know that the connection you're using isn't like at risk for being hijacked right as you're doing it. With software updates, I get it. We all see it. It happens at the worst moments. You're scrolling and, update. Don't ignore it. They close the security gaps that happen that attackers love to exploit. So just make sure you turn on auto updates so your devices, your apps are updated and patched. And hopefully you don't ever have to think about that, but make sure you're just doing it routinely. And if you're working remotely or in an office, make sure you have a second separate guest network, or you have something that a guest could use that's separate from yours. Again, you don't want to be using the same network and a friend comes or someone else comes and their account or their internet, their accounts are hacked, and that could potentially go to you and jump on the same network.
Sorry, we've got a question about Wi-Fi. So by open network, do you mean like public Wi-Fi, like in a library or a cafe? Is that okay? Perfect.
Yeah, it's really risky to use those public, as much as they're convenient and we see them all over, from Starbucks or wherever. They're really risky, and you just be very cautious. I would really recommend not using it, but you have to sometimes. But yeah, anytime you're on a public open network, you're at risk.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So kind of with hardware, if you're logging on to these accounts, if you're on your computer daily, don't cheapen out on routers or other hardware. Use reputable, up-to-date name brand equipment. A $20 router or something you found in your parents' basement is most likely not up to date or, not much security. And again, with passwords, password hygiene, this one is the most important. Every platform, every tool, every dashboard that you use needs its own unique password. Don't reuse, but you're like, how do I do that? Use a password manager. I personally use 1Password. It's very easy, user-friendly, and it's your secret weapon for handling multiple accounts safely and securely. And this one's critical for social media. Again, assume everyone is out to take advantage of you. All this information swirling around. Hackers will DM you, email you, pose as these platform reps, offering you verification badges or partnerships. But if something sounds too good to be true, unfortunately, it most likely is a scam. And with antivirus, anti-malware, keep them running. If they're on your company's devices, keep them on. They are there for your own benefit. As a social media manager, you're constantly downloading files and graphics and reports and videos, and those anti-malware software, antivirus, that's the thing. That's your safety net in itself. They catch the stuff that slips through. And kind of lastly, check your devices, check what's connected to your home network, check what's around you. If you're managing brand accounts from home, you want to know that it's just your laptop or your phone, not some mystery device that's piggybacking off of your Wi-Fi, and it's potentially a threat. And all in all, you put this together and what you get is a peace of mind, really strong security, and these practices will help you be the creative, strategic social media manager that everyone wants to be.
We've got 2 questions that have popped up, Claire. So one is from Jake asking, can you talk about the risk of using a single shared account for social media management tools.
What do you mean? So do you mean like social at whatever, and you're all logging in using those same credentials?
I'm going to assume so. Jake, if you can
Yeah.
clarify. In the meantime, while we're waiting to hear from Jake, Katie's asking what happens when the password manager gets like hacked or has a data breach.
Oh my gosh, that is actually the worst. What happens if that happens? Go for a walk, take a deep breath, first of all. I think that's a really tough one to answer, actually. Hopefully it doesn't. You would think that a lot of these third parties, especially password managers, have their own steps and procedures to, help guide you as the user on what happens. But ultimately, if you recognize that goes down, your immediate first step is to change as many passwords as you can, either natively or through other means. But always change your passwords. That's your first line of defense that you as the user can do.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that never, ever, ever happens.
I can't say I've experienced it, but oh my gosh.
Yes.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Jake has clarified, like using one account for HeyOrca or Hootsuite or Sprout,
Okay.
like using one single account to log into a management tool. So I guess kind of like multiple people
Using the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a risk. Sometimes you have to do it if, say, you only have one seat on whatever platform you're using. I think as a team, as users, just always make sure whose ever phone is, say, set up with MFA. What are the steps? How are we going to get in? Communication with that. It's not ideal, but as long as you are aware of who's using that credential, have strict policies. Make sure they're not sharing it with other individuals. Just stay on top of it and keep it always at the top of mind.
Yeah, that's fair. I am also going to do a little plug. I can't resist. It is helpful that HeyOrca has unlimited users. So if you're a HeyOrca user, you don't have to worry about that.
That is actually, that's amazing.
And then we had one question come in earlier related to AI. So Paul asked, do social media professionals have like unique AI threats that they need to think about, like for themselves or their colleagues or their communities? Anything related to that?
Yeah, there's definitely unique threats, and the capabilities of AI changes every single day from what we see and how smart it's able, to produce passwords or crack systems. So there are definitely unique threats, and that in itself is a whole other topic. But AI and cybersecurity go hand in hand these days.
That's so fair. Okay, and then Jordana is kind of jumping off of Jake's question with another great question. So, like, what if you use like social at company.com
Mhm.
for like your Instagram password or for your Facebook password or whatever? Like, what if you have one like login for that? I guess actually, now that I've said that online, I think that is how Instagram works, that you only have one login for the account. So I guess, Jordana, I wonder if I've misunderstood your question. Yeah, because you can't add.
Like I think overall that is the best approach is use, like, I know for my role, I use social at nightwing.com, and you can that's the centralization of it. And as long as it's going to one spot, you kind of have one primary login, but just be aware of who's using it, who has that access.
Yeah, I guess that then relates back to what you were saying about doing an audit of who's got access to those passwords, not which.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm just looking through to see if I've missed any questions. If I have missed a question, please feel free to retype it. But in the meantime, we can definitely pop Claire's LinkedIn into the chat again so people can
Mhm.
connect with you over there.
Yeah, please
But yeah,
do.
I feel like, yeah, that is it for questions. So I'm speaking for myself when I think, but I also think for everyone else that like I learned so much in this webinar. I think
Mhm.
this is really helpful. Oh, we have had one more question pop in. This is a great one. So Christy is asking, any tips for those of us who give people access to our accounts for takeovers every now and
Mm,
then? That's a great question.
that is a great question, and I certainly know I've done it in the past. It, there's not anything inherently wrong with it. It's just be aware of what they're doing. Make sure you're following that takeover. Don't trust them 100%. Even if it's your mom, your best friend, just make sure you're staying on top of it. Change your password the second they're done with it. And that's really the best approach you can do.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And
Awesome.
just one last call to go vote in our poll if you haven't already. I'm going to pop that in the chat right now. And don't forget, you have until Tuesday to share what you learned in this webinar. And don't forget to tag us if you do it so that we can always see it. And yeah, thank you so much, Claire, for this really helpful webinar. And hopefully we'll see everyone next week for our webinar about social updates from August. But yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank
And
you, everyone.
bye.
Bye. Have a good day.